Hi, it's Fab Poli here. Welcome back to another episode of Biz Jet TV. Today we're going to be talking about Russian supersonic business jets. Very interesting subject. New piece of news just come out that we'll sort of analyse and have a chat about today. But before we get into the juice of this episode, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to Biz Jet TV. Click on the notification bell so every time we publish a new episode, you'll be notified. Published every Tuesdays and Fridays, coming to you from the studio here in the UK, across the world, to inform you about and educate you about business aviation. Please comment below. We love the conversation that's going on below the videos, and also we'd love suggestions, people you'd like us to interview, and also suggestions for videos on different aircraft and different situations in the market. So let's get into the Russian supersonic business jet. Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, traveled to the Middle East just recently, had a meeting with a number of heads of state and royal families in the Middle East, talking to them about supersonic business jet, because the Tsaji, which is the leading Moscow-based aerodynamics research institute, has been working on developing a body shape to reduce the sonic boom. And they also got another one of their institutes there which is working on an engine, and they're trying to bring the two together to develop this private jet which will fly faster than the speed of sound. We're talking Mach 1.8, over 4,000 nautical miles. They're looking at building the first prototype in 2023 to then have delivery of the first few jets in 2027, fly 18 passengers, and the cost is going to be about $120 million. These are the figures that they've disclosed so far. Now, this is not new because a few years ago there was a meeting about turning the Tupolev TU160, which is a military aircraft which flies at Mach 2, into a private jet. That didn't go down too well. A number of business people got together with the Russian government and asked them if they could do this, and the Russians weren't too keen on doing it. But there were talks about that. I think this is an interesting one, turning a military aircraft into a civilian supersonic aircraft. Now, that's something I hadn't heard of before. Post below what you think about that one. That's an interesting one. But let's go back to this strategy. I think Vladimir Putin has been very clever here, because he's realised that the Middle Eastern royal families have got the money and also the need to fly fast. They're looking at the market for this aeroplane being the Middle East and also Southeast Asia, because those people have more need to cover greater distances than people in Europe or United States to go out and do business. And so they would fly supersonic, 18 passengers or 10 or 12 or 5 or how many there may be, across to do business and fly. So this project is going to be in competition with the projects that I have talked about before. Aerion, you've got Boom Aerospace that are working on this type of project as well. Also, I did do a video on the TR3B, which was a bit of an experiment. I just threw it out there. I interviewed this guy. You can click on the link above. Interestingly enough, this video on the TR3B, which is an airplane which supposedly exists and flies at Mach 25. The thing I was shocked about is the number of comments below the video of people that have actually seen this thing. So it looks like it actually does exist. And the TR3B would, it would be a quantum leap in air travel for everybody, because this thing takes off and lands vertically and flies at Mach 25, Mach 30. It's something incredible, and it doesn't use kerosene or jet fuel, which pollutes the air. And we've got all this talk about carbon footprint, this, that, the other. So that's another thing that's out there. And I just did an experiment by interviewing this researcher, aerospace researcher, that's been talking about the TR3B for a number of years, and over 16,000 views and lots of comments of people that say they've actually seen this aircraft. So even though we're talking about supersonic business jet here, the Russians are onto it. I think Putin's been very clever in going out there and speaking to these royal families and seeing if any of them would be interested in buying the aircraft, because obviously before you build this thing, which is obviously going to cost a lot of money, it's a over $2 billion project. They need to make sure that they've got customers lined up to buy this thing. So lots of competition there on the supersonic business jet front. As I always say, I think the first one to come to market is going to win this market. There's probably a market for about 500 to 600 clients out there that would buy this kind of thing. But speed is definitely the way we need to go, because technology is increasing in speed. I mean, once we start flying with the vertical takeoff and landing aircraft throughout the cities, obviously traveling in LA, for example, from the northern part of LA, like Van Nuys, all the way down to Long Beach, it's going to be a lot quicker with a vertical takeoff and landing vehicle compared to going down that 405 freeway, which those of you that live in LA or have lived in LA like me will know that that highway can be a bit of a nightmare in the mornings. had to take a long time to travel from A to B. So, you know, that's going to speed things up. You know, the internet is speeding things up. Technology with AI and all this whole thing, our lives are really accelerating, and so we really need to accelerate taking people from A to B. We need supersonic travel back, or hypersonic, or something that can get us from A to B a lot faster. I mean, since Concorde was retired, and I don't think it was right to retire Concorde. Concorde didn't have any problems. The reason Concorde crashed is because there was debris on the runway in Charles de Gaulle, and I was there that morning. I took off an hour and a half before Concorde from the same runway, flying between Charles de Gaulle and Bergamo in a Dornier 328 jet, and when I landed back, they told me Concorde had crashed. So that could have been me, hit that debris on the runway. It wasn't, it was Concorde. And then they blame it on Concorde and they retire Concorde, and we no longer have civilian supersonic travel. But we need to get it back. We really do need to get faster air travel back, and the sonic boom thing will be solved, hopefully. Maybe the TR-3B is the solution. Maybe the Russians are going to pull it off. Maybe the Americans, or the Japanese, or the Chinese, or the Indians, or some dude somewhere in a garage that's come up with a new fancy design, a new engine that doesn't pollute the air. Who knows? But I think the next 10 years we're going to see a lot of changes in aviation. And comment below. Let me know what you think. What's going to be happening next? Any suggestions would be great for more videos on this subject. And yeah, subscribe to this channel. Give us a thumbs up on the video. And that's all from Fab Poli Biz Jet TV. And I'll see you on the next one.